The following is a public access production. It is not produced, sponsored, or endorsed by this station, the local government, or the cable providers. The program producer is solely responsible for the content of this program.
Welcome to Bomi's Kitchen, episode 2. Today, I promise, is the last boring day. I'm sorry, but this is also important. In case you guys want to ever make stocks or clarified butter, I feel like it's more cost efficient and fun, especially with the stocks. If you guys, I feel like when I make the whole meal, start to finish, I feel a lot more accomplished. But you don't have to. It's just for those who want to. And it's also a refresher for me, getting back into the cooking because it's been a while. So it's pretty simple. So for the clarified butter, we've got. Today I'm doing 6 sticks. It looks like a lot. It ends up, almost half of it ends up getting taken out because of all the milk fats. So, yeah. Here's your mirepoix, which is a 50% onions, 25% carrots and celery. Here's our aromatics. Similar to last week's, we've got the parsley stems, garlic, peppercorns, bay leaves, and thyme. It doesn't really matter how much you do of it. I'm not a stickler. I feel like it's a stock. It doesn't need to be perfect. Normally, you're supposed to use chicken bones for it, so that it for flavor. But if you go to a grocery store, they don't really have a bunch of chicken legs for you to really get. So, I mean, if you get the whole chicken and you break it down and you have the carcass left over, that's nice. I probably should have done that, but today I got the chicken livers and gizzards. It might look a little different if you're just using like a chicken carcass. It's going to be a lot less fatty, two, darker. Because of the chicken livers. And also I recommend, if you do end up going with the livers in this way, just be careful. It might make you puke. It's really disgusting. So, cool. And then we just got a strainer and the cheesecloth to strain it out, ladle to skim, spoon kind of also to skim, and then this to take it out when we're ready to strain. So a chicken stock typically takes 3 to 4 hours, somewhere in that range. A chicken for 2 for 3/4 of the time, and then the last hour, whatever you want to do, you put in the mirepoix and the aromatics. So that's cool. So that it's a chicken stock. It should taste more like a chicken stock than. So this is just going to be the baseline for stocks for any kind of stock, and then down in the description I'll be putting down all the other stock ratios and the times that you would cook a stock. So this one, the ratio for a chicken stock would be 8 pounds of bones, 5 to 6 quarts of water, 1 pound of mirepoix, and one bouquet garni, or sachet. It doesn't really matter. Especially, you don't need to tie it up at all because it's all going to be strained. For something that you wouldn't strain, you definitely want to tie it up so it doesn't stay in there. But for this one, it doesn't matter. Yeah, so then you just keep that ratio, and so this is to make 1 gallon of stock. So you just keep that ratio, and if you want to make more, you just multiply it by 2. If you want to make less, whatever the case, that's all really recipes are. That's just ratios, and you change it. So cool. First things first, we're going to stick our chicken in. It's kind of foul. No pun intended. So first, I got a measuring cup because you kind of want to be precise. So the reason you go 5 to 6 quarts of water is because you have to allot time and space for evaporation. because you're reducing it, because you don't cook a stock without a lid. So it's 5 to 6, so I'm going to do 11 cups of water. I feel like that's just kind of the sweet spot. So 2 cups of water would be a pint, which is half of a quart, right? So then that means we need 10 to 11 cups of water. I'm going to be doing 11 just so that it kind of is the sweet spot. If you need to put more water in, you can. Just be careful because it might mess up the stock. Something that you really don't want to do with stocks is stir it. That's an absolute no-no. Can't do that because for some reason it spoils it. Also, make sure your water is cold. Something with the oxygen, I guess it helps the chicken not stay on the bottom, not stick to the bottom, so you don't burn anything. Okay, so we've got the stock on, all the water's on. You can put it up to high. When it gets to around a simmer, you can adjust it so that you're not boiling it. You want a little bit of movement, but not too much, because once again, movement spoils the stock. That part, I'm not actually quite sure why that happens. It just does, and it becomes really sour and gross. So you don't really want that. Okay, so for clarifying butter, there's 2 main ways of doing it. You can either simmer it and skim the milk fats off the top, or it's called the decanter method. I don't actually know what that means. I'm sure it's French. Which is, you're basically, well, actually here, let me wash my hands and then I'll, okay. Okay. So basically, decanter method, what it is you start on low, and the milk fats and the other fat separate, and it creates kind of a different layer, and it kind of hardens a little bit. And then you kind of just pour it off, you tip it off, you pour it off. So that's why I have a second pot, so that I can pour it off. And you kind of want to be careful. You don't want to just pour the milk fats in, because then you did all this for nothing. So, all right, so it's melted a bit. This is kind of what it should look like. It might be easier, we'll see. It's probably easier if you want to like ladle it in at the beginning. It's not going to be perfect, but try your best, do your best to keep it all separated. And then you can just kind of keep doing this process. And then I would recommend the other part, now that there's going to be less of it, to do the simmering method, which is basically, it's the same thing that we're going to be doing for the stock. And that's going to be skimming off the fat at the top, letting it go, just simmering it, letting it go. But this way you won't have as many milk fats at the bottom, that, so that they won't burn, which is nice. All right, so we've separated them mostly. It's not perfect, but you can see it's a whole lot better. You lose all of this. It's definitely, there's a big difference. So why clarify butter? What's the point of it? Well, one, the biggest reason most likely is it has a way higher smoke point, so you get still the flavor of the butter, but the part that burns is the milk fats that comes from the butter. So when you separate them, you have now just the kind of a lard kind of esque thing. So, and you can refrigerate it a lot longer. It lasts a lot longer. This is the part that goes bad. So it just it's easier. It's easier. Different styles of cooking. It's a lot easier. So that's mostly why people do it. Yeah, you can. It'll last. You know, when it cools down and hardens, it'll last probably a good 2 months, which is really nice. So saves you money. And you know, this whole process took maybe 15 minutes, I'd say. So not a bad use of your time. All right, so I forgot about this. I made some clarified butter the last week. So this is what it looks like when it hardens. It still basically has the same color look as butter, but it's a lot less. When it heats up, that's what it'll look like. So it doesn't have a lot of the milk fats. You see, like those, I did the same amount, the 6 sticks, and this is how much it ends up being when it is all said and done. So it looks like a lot, but it ends up not, you know, going pretty quickly, which is nice. And then once again, this will last 2 to 3 months, somewhere in that range, which just makes it really cost efficient, easy, and it's got both a much higher smoke point than both your regular butter. So it goes butter, then olive oil, which I think is at 325, and then this is like at 6 something. So it's about double what olive oil is. So that makes it nice. All right, so we've gotten to a point where it's starting to, hopefully you guys can see, it's starting to, all these bubbles and stuff, this is like all the impurities, all the fat, all the blood, all the everything. So that's going to end up rising up. You know, when it gets hotter, it coagulates, so it's a lot easier to skim. We don't want this part. See how that kind of just stuck to that spoon? It's like all that fat. That's not so good. So ideally, you know, we want to skim that out. Always have a skim bowl, a bowl to skim parts off. That will help make it easier, because you do not want all this stuff in your stock. All right, so guys, you probably can see, but all this, like, I don't know, it looks like fat or like blood, or I don't know what it really looks. It looks like, really what it looks like is like pulp when you drink orange juice. But this is like all the fat and parts of the chicken that, you know, when you take it out, it's like a little slimy. That's kind of the stuff. So it's all rising now, and then it'll be really easy. You just let it simmer for a little bit. I'm letting it all build up, and then it becomes so much easier to skim. And it's kind of fun to skim too, actually. It's like a little game. But trust me, it's not going to look like this for, you know, the whole time. It'll end up looking a lot more appetizing. All right, guys. So this is all the scum and impurities that have come up. This is always going to be the first thing to come up when you're making a stock. It'll always be the first. So just take it out. It doesn't take too long. Try not to move things around too much. If you move things around a little bit, it's not the end of the world. And you want to try and keep as much of the broth, you know, the actual stock in there. You don't want to lose your, you know, too much yield. And just work it around. You can see the difference between like the liquid and the scum. So just give that a little, like as such, and just take it out of there. Alright guys, so I'm still in the process of skimming this. It's taken a bit of time, but not too bad. You'll notice it's starting to bubble more than we would like it. You don't want it to look like this, so we'll drop it down to about probably medium, just above medium high. You want movement, but not boiling. You definitely do not want boiling. That's too much movement. It's moving a little bit more, so I'm going to drop it down just more than I probably should, just to be sure. Let it cool down a tiny bit, and then I can bump it back if needed, but I'd rather it be less movement than more movement. So your skim bucket should look pretty much like this. You can see I have a little bit of the liquid in there, but it's mostly the foam and the scum, so that's good. All right, so we're now sitting at about, I've been kind of watching over this for a while. We're about 2 hours, just under 2 hours in. There's a fair chance you'll have to be skimming the whole time. Sometimes you gotta skim more, sometimes you gotta skim less. It really just depends. Sometimes the chicken is more fattier than the other. The last one I made, I barely skimmed. This one I've been skimming almost the whole time. So if yours isn't looking as, murky, don't fret, don't scream, don't shout. It happens. Your next one probably will. So, it happens. So, once again, we got our mirepoix. So this is obviously a pound makes up of 16 ounces. So we've got 8 ounces onions, and then 4 and 4 ounces of carrots and celery. And then, once again, we have our, technically a sachet. This is what you would put in a sachet. It would be the peppercorns, bay leaves, garlic, parsley stems, and thyme. So usually it's about 6 stems, 6 parsley stems, but I didn't have a lot to work with, so I got more of smaller ones. So it should equal, and if it doesn't have to be exactly. It's a stock. I'd say you can't do too much aromatic. So when you put everything in, you want to be careful as to not stir it around too much, not make it move around, because it'll, once again, we don't want to stir the stock around. If you happen to move it just a little bit, it's not the end of the world, but you do want to obviously you want to be careful. So, okay. Drop it in from low as such, to minimize, splash, and to minimize them falling down all the way to the bottom. If you drop them from further, obviously, they're going to go down further. So, be mindful of that. And then we'll watch it for another hour. Once again, you just skim it. You don't have to tend to it that often. Maybe just, I don't know, every 10 minutes or so, just come back, skim it. It'll actually be easier if you wait a little bit. The fat will coagulate more than if you just constantly. So you want to let them separate. Like fat, like oil and water. You know how oil and water, they don't really mix well. It's a similar premise. It's not quite oil, but it is a fat. So fat and water, they're different buoyancies, different stuff, so it's not going to work as well. So when we strain this, you're going to obviously, you're going to want to shock it. You want to put it in, you want to strain it. You take your strainer. What I do is I open it up a little bit. So you go like this, typically. Press down. You want to spread it out as much as you can. Then you take your second piece and you want to go the other way. So now you're going both sides. You want to drop it down. That way it blocks, it catches more fat. I don't actually know how this catches the fat, but it does, and I'm thankful for it because it does work really nice. Something else you can use to strain things is coffee. What are they? Coffee strainers? Whatever it is. It's the You guys know. Those work pretty well too. If you really want to do it, you can do a mix of both. I think that's worked best for me, so I'll probably start doing that again. And yeah, so you want to cool it quickly so that it I don't actually know why. Just so you store it so it doesn't, you know, stay out in like the food temperature danger zone or whatever it was. TDZ. So if you have ice, it's best to do, you know, push the drain thing down so that the water builds. Put some ice in. If you don't have an ice maker, which most people I know don't, I guess you could just keep putting the water in, and then when it starts to get too hot, drain it, and then keep doing that and stir really a lot. Well, and then I'll show you. It's going to be kind of hard to talk and do it at the same time, so I'll show you guys what it should look like when it's done. And we'll see you back in another hour 15-ish. I strained it. Be careful. The you know, the chicken stuff. It's best to, something I forgot to mention earlier. It's best to you know, like use tongs. Pull the stuff out before dumping it, because they'll all come out and splash everywhere, and then all your hard work goes to waste. So we got that. This is about what it should look like. It's a little bit murkier than I'd have liked, so but you cool it down to 41 degrees or under, so that you can just refrigerate it right away, cool it down. Unless you need it again, then you can take some off to the side and then use that in your whatever you're planning to make. So why make stocks? So stocks are really good for sauces a lot of the time, or soups. So next week we're gonna be using this in French onion soup. So it's gonna be a lot more exciting and something more practical. You'll actually get to eat it. But you know, we want to build the blocks, build the building blocks so that you guys can follow along. So when I say something like we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and you're like, what? I want to do that. This is how. So this is good. You can use it in vegetable soups and vegetarian. I mean, not really. Like if you are vegetarian, you can use a vegetable stock, which I'll put down how to do that, the ratio, down in the description. But this is really versatile. You can do it for almost anything. All stocks are pretty much the same. I just did chicken stock. I feel like it's the most common. So yeah, I'll thank you guys for watching. This has been Clarified Butter and your stocks, and I'll see you guys in the next week for some soups.